Okay. Hello. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you today?
Good. Good.
Been a long day, but it was productive,
Listen, when I tell you today has been todaying,
Look what they say. The kids say life has been lifing. Okay.
it's been lifing. Okay, I'm just checking. Let me just check to make sure. I'll see if someone can look at all of our pages just to make sure we're live. Let's see. There she is. Look, she's trying to show off her tree. I don't have a tree up. You have one up yet?
No, ma'am. I have one child and he is grown, so
Oh,
it's just me. So I hadn't put up anything yet. It don't even feel like Christmas. That's so pretty. That tree is beautiful.
I know. She's showing out for
And
us.
turn the lights on. Yes.
Oh, I had her muted. I just unmuted her too. Listen, I'm pregnant right now, so I was like, I'm not decorating this year because I have to decorate for the next 18 years. So,
Okay.
hey.
Hi, Nicole.
Wait, let's see if she can hear us.
Okay, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi.
Perfect. Are we live inside of all the groups?
Yes, we are. I was just checking. Let me just make sure. Hold on. Let me go to real estate growth code. I logged into my personal page. There it is. I can. Can you see from your side, from your personal page?
Yeah, it's not showing it as on the top tier one.
It's not showing there.
It's not live.
I don't see it in the real estate growth code group either.
I just got a text that they are able to see it. Let me see what page that they're seeing it from here, and we can see comments too. Hey, Keisha. Keisha, can you tell us, are you joining from Top Tiers page or Real Estate Growth Code? Can you put it in the chat? She's typing back. Let's see.
I'm in
Top tier.
She's okay. Letitia says she had to refresh and it popped up in top tier. Keisha's in top tier. Okay, let's see. Keisha, are you friends in real estate agent growth code?
I'm in growth code and I don't see it here. Let's see.
Okay, can you see if you can join the live from real estate growth code, Keisha? Let's see if it's there as well.
I'm in here. I don't see it. People are saying, "Where am I?" They don't see it.
Okay.
Can you add real estate growth code as one of yours, possibly?
Let me see. Trying to think, how do I add invite? Okay. Copy. Guests can stream from I think I figured it out. Hold on. Oh, I have to upgrade. Let me upgrade real quick, ladies. Okay. Choose Pro. Sorry. Probably should have had this all figured out. Okay. Okay, now let's see. Let me enter the studio again. All right. I think we need to. Okay, let me get out here. All right, ladies. So I. Oh, why am I stuck on? Okay, I'm sending you a link really quick. Let's jump off. If you guys can jump off and jump back on really
Okay.
quick. I'm gonna email it really quick.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, you guys. Sorry for the difficulties, technical difficulties, really quick. Okay, Nicole, are you in Real Estate Growth Code?
It says stream this to your audience.
Hey. Thanks, Keisha.
Now we lost Anidra.
She's jumping back on. She had to go out and come back in. Okay. Are you streaming live now from? Oh, yeah, I see you. You're streaming too. I can see it at the top.
Yep, I see it.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right. Let's give it a couple minutes. There she is. Okay, let me add her back. There she is. Hey.
Hi.
Okay, got it all figured out. Got it. Technology. Woohoo! We're here. Yay! Good job, guys. Excited. I'm very, very excited.
Yes. Okay, let me just make sure I'm recording. Okay, we're good now. All right, cool, ladies. So, Nicole, can you
Yes.
please introduce me to this amazing appraiser?
Absolutely. So, for those of you guys that are out here watching, and to my beautiful daughter, Ashley, who is the owner of Top Tier Transactions, I would like to introduce you guys. So, one of the things that you guys know is that I love to bring people on here that are super knowledgeable, and I love to bring people, as does Ashley, to bring people to our groups that when we're in a market that's really challenging and we're trying to figure things out, we like to bring people that are going to educate you. So right now in this market, figuring out how to price your listings has been such a challenge for myself and so many other people that I wanted to, as Ashley and I were talking about who we could bring to the group, it was a no-brainer for me to bring Miss Potter, the one and only appraiser extraordinaire. I remember when I first met her through Ramon Tooks, and I just remember her being a powerhouse from the very beginning of really understanding this appraisal world. And the thing that gravitates me to her and people that are like me and Ashley is the fact that we are just natural givers, in the sense of we want to make sure that you have the information that you need to be successful. And I thank you for raising your hand every time we call upon you to really come in and educate real estate agents, and to just educate the masses on what it takes to really not only be an appraiser, but to really make sure that us as real estate agents, that we understand how to price these listings correctly. Because the thing that happens, and before I do that, I didn't even get an opportunity for you guys, for my people on my live, to meet my daughter, Ashley Williams, who's the owner of Top Tier Transactions. So Ashley, tell them a little bit about yourself, and then I'll go into what I was going to say about listings.
Sure. So I am again the owner of Top Tier Transactions. We've been in business for almost 2 years now, and business took off and thrived. I have been in real estate for almost 4 years now, and I came in feeling like there was a need for more assistance for real estate agents. We all wear a lot of hats in this industry. Videographers, photographers. Now we have to be content creators. We have to be showing agents, contract specialists. We wear a lot of hats. So I started Top Tier just to really be a helping hand to real estate agents, and it's grown so quickly and so fast. Fast forward, I now have created a real estate group called Top Tier Transactions Team. It is an amazing group, and it's geared towards agents, new agents in particular. Right. There's so many groups out there, but I wanted to really pour into the new agent because I understand what it means to be a new agent. We've just started the group. It's just getting off the ground. So join us if you haven't done so already, but that's a little bit about me.
Nice. So without further ado, I definitely want to go back to the reason why we all joined here tonight. Listen, when I tell you this listing spot is really challenging right now because I'm seeing appraisals that are coming in $100,000 less than they just were a year ago. And then I'm seeing more people that are reducing the listing price. I've never seen so many price reduced emails going out. Tell us about what is going on in this appraisal arena right now. And I'm seeing it across the board because we work with agents. Ashley with Top Tier Transactions works with agents all over the U.S. I have agents all over the U.S. on my team. So tell us what is going on.
Well, I can only speak for Georgia, but it's probably similar in a lot of other places. But first, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. Every time I come and speak, I definitely enjoy it. And I love, getting that information out there. So I am a certified appraiser. This is my 22nd year. And I'm also a realtor. And so now on the realtor side, seeing how little is taught about valuation, but it's such an important part of a realtor's job. And so I tell all the realtors at my brokerage and any other realtors, like, if you learn how to list your properties correctly and what we're looking for on the appraisal side, as far as how do we determine value. So I like to explain that, because if you know what we're looking for and how we assess the value, then it'll help you when you're pricing your listings to make sure you get the price right the first time. And it's extremely important in this market because, like you said, at about a year and a half ago, everyone was overbidding and prices were inflated. And, you put a house on the market and get 10 offers in the first day or two. And people were willing to overpay. So they were willing to go, even if the appraisal came in at one thing, they were still willing to pay the difference and go over that, because anyone that got in the market in the last several years, all they saw up. But we know the market goes up and down. They have dips. And so people were willing to pay because all they'd seen is up, and they thought it was going to continue and catch up. So they were willing to overpay now for what they thought was going to continue to happen in the future. And a lot of those people are upside down. A lot of those people are now trying to go back and refinance and get an appraisal, like Nicole said, that's considerably lower than what it was just maybe the beginning of this year. And part of it is because the initial prices a year and a half ago were inflated. So when you say the prices are coming down or people are reducing, when it was already overpriced, then is it a real reduction? Or is it going back to more of what it should have been in the first place? So with some of that going on, and just paying attention to the market. You really want to be looking in the last 90 days in this type of market, because that's how quickly the market could change.
Yes.
I had a client that had an appraisal in January for 140. And now in December, when they're trying to refinance, it came in at 123. That's a big difference. So we have to, one, make sure we're valuing it correctly the first time. Yes. And we have to stay up on what's going on in the market because it changes so frequently. I'm also seeing the price reduction. Well, we don't say reductions, the price improvement. But we're seeing that because, one, interest rates are higher. People are sitting on the sidelines. They're afraid to make a move. A lot of people are saying, hey, I'm gonna wait till the interest rates go down. But really understanding the market, when the interest rates go down, then the prices are going to go up because everybody that's on the sideline is going to jump back in. And so, yes, you're going to have a lower interest rate, but you're going to be paying a higher price for the house. So what you pay for the house is what you pay for the house. If you get a house with a higher interest rate and interest rates goes down, then you have the option to refinance. So you should be more concerned about the price of the house, not necessarily what the interest rate is. So these people that are waiting are going to be married to whatever that higher price they end up paying when everybody jumps back in the market. So it just kind of depends on how you look at the market, how you understand the market. But I do want to back up and say, when we're looking at comps, it's so important to compare apples to apples. And it's so important for the agents to know what they're looking at. So one of my examples I use, I had an agent that had a house, 7 bedrooms. They didn't see any 7-bedroom houses in the subdivision. So they went outside the subdivision and found a house for $1.2 million. And so that's what they listed this client's house at. So when I came in and did the appraisal, and it was $620,000. So come to find out, the house was not a 7-bedroom house. It was a 5-bedroom house with a finished basement with 2 additional bedrooms. And so something as small as not even knowing how to take out the above grade rooms and the basement rooms, you don't add them together, at least not when you're looking at comps. You wouldn't be looking at a 7-bedroom comp. You'd be looking at a 5-bedroom comp that had a finished basement. And so just that one little error made them price their client's house at $1.2 million when it should have been $620. And the agent says, how am I supposed to go back to my client and explain a $600,000 difference? And something as simple as not knowing that you don't add those two together. You don't add the square footage together from the above grade and the below grade. You get credit for it, but it's on its own separate line. So a lot of people say, oh, why didn't I get credit for the bedrooms in the basement or the bathrooms in the basement? You get credit, but you get credit on the basement line. And then your above grade footage, square footage goes on the above grade line. And they're right up under each other on the appraisal, but you don't add them together. And so many people make that simple mistake of not even knowing how to separate that out. And it's a costly mistake. And how do you go back to your client and explain, a $600,000 difference, right? So just knowing that, knowing you got to compare similar bedroom counts. I've seen agents compare houses that are new construction to houses that are 1920. That's not what you compare. You compare the 1920 to other 1920, or in that age range of homes. If you got new construction, you compare it to new construction, and that seems simple to say. Like, it seems like you would know if your house is new construction, then you compare it to other new construction. I've had people compare condos and townhouses to single family houses. So just knowing that you have to compare apples to apples. If it's a single family house, you want single family comps. If it's 100 years old, you want other historic properties. So what we're trying to do is find a property that would generally attract the same buyer. And you want it to have similar bedroom counts, similar square footage, similar age, and it's a range. So if your house is built in 2020, you might find one that's 2022. You might find one that's 2018, 19. So in that range, you're fine, but you wouldn't go down to 1940. And I've seen that happen a lot of times. So just making sure that you're comparing apples to apples as much as possible, that you're staying in the proximity. So we talk about, when you're looking at your comps, we talk about distance. Everybody hears that 1 mile, 12 months. Yes, we have a mile, but you don't start there. You want the closest, most comparable sales. So I've had agents to say, hey, it's within a mile. Yes, it is, but there's one that's 1/4 mile. How do you overlook that to go almost a mile for a comp? So you want the closest, most comparable. So when you're thinking about, yes, this is in a mile, or is there something that's closer? You want the closest, most comparable, just like we have the 12-month data sale. Mm-hmm. Yes, we have 12 months, but in this market especially, you want sales that have closed in the last 90 days because we have proof right now that stuff that closed 11 months ago is at a whole different price point than right now. So you want the most recent, the most comparable, and you want apples to apples. So So if you do those things and make sure that you're comparing recent close sales that are similar in age, square footage, amenities, and things like that. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm super anxious and excited about this information you're giving. So right now I'm seeing, especially in the higher price points, that buyers are underbidding, right? How we went from COVID overbidding to now we're underbidding, and sellers are doing it because their houses are just sitting, right? Do you feel that next year, once the Feds start dropping interest rates, right, we're going to experience that overbidding again? Or do you think that we'll kind of stay? Go ahead. You can.
I don't know if the excessive overbidding that was occurring is going to happen again, but I do think that once all these people that are sitting on the sidelines jump back in the game, then you're going to have those multiple offer situations again. You're going to have that highest and best again. Like I said, a year and a half ago, a seller didn't have to give you anything, no closing costs, no reductions, no anything. Now they're reducing the price. They're paying your closing costs. They're buying down your interest rate. I start my clients off. I tell you, you have to come in with incentives in this market. There are people that are still thinking it's that same market where people, oh, no, it's not that market anymore. And you want to be an agent that stays abreast of what's going on in the market so that you're advising your clients correctly, because what we were doing a year and a half ago doesn't work now. And so when buyers see a house that's been sitting more than 30 days, they're sending, I ain't gonna say lowball because they're not really lowballing, but they asking for some stuff. They asking for 10%, 15%. They asking for closing costs, and they're getting it. They're getting it. So that's what I'm seeing. I don't think it's gonna go back to that craziness it was, but you just never know. One thing about it, you can't really time the market. You just gotta keep up with it. You know what I'm saying? And just know what is, and when it's changing, you be ready to pivot. This industry, I think you have to pivot a lot. You have to make sure that you know what's going on at that moment, because we're not in that highest and best anymore, except in the lower price range. So one of the things that's occurring because the interest rates are higher is people are qualifying for less house. So the average house in Atlanta is about $350. But people with the higher interest rates now, they previously may have been approved for $300 or $350, but now they're at $200 or $250, and there's nothing in that price point that's decent, right? So that's the other problem. There's no inventory where the bulk of the people that would buy now can buy. There's nothing $200, $250, in this market. And so they're waiting because they can't find anything. The other people are waiting because they're scared, of the interest rates. And then when you hear that they're going to do 3 cuts next year, people are saying, well, I might as well just wait. If we know for sure the Feds are going to do 3 cuts next year, then I'm going to wait to then. But a lot of other people are saying the same thing. I like to buy when there's blood on the streets, when nobody else is wanting it, that's when I want it. I actively buy in every market. Like, it doesn't matter if it's up or down. I know how to go in there and look at it and buy right, But yeah, so to answer your question, I don't think it's going to do what it did a year and a half ago, but I do think more people are going to jump back in the market, which is going to make the prices go up because there are going to be multiple offers. Yeah.
I got one more question, Nicole. Do you mind?
No, jump in. Jump right on it.
Okay, so I'm here to represent for the new agent, right? So being that you wear both hats, both an appraiser and a realtor, how do you feel like it's more difficult to have the conversation with the seller right now, or has been over the last year, just explaining to them the shift in the market, that we're no longer in the market that we were in COVID, and that, now it's the symptoms are there and they need to be there to offer to the buyer? Do you think that's a more difficult conversation? And if so, how are you having it?
I wouldn't say it's difficult. I mean, we all have those clients that no matter what you say and how well you explain it, they still want you to test the market at the price that they want. And sometimes in that situation, you talk to you blue in the face and you have to just put it out there and let them see what it do for 30 days. And then they'll listen to you. But I always kind of find it like that. Sellers have this price in their head and it's based on, my neighbor house sold for this and my house is better than that, so I know I should be able to get this. That's not how value is assessed. And so it's always, a difficult conversation when you have that type of seller that has that price in mind that they want. And a lot of times I find that it's because of things that they've done to the property or they've put things into the property. So they just feel like, they should have this particular value. But the other thing that you want to learn when you're valuing properties and how to advise your sellers is what adds value to a property and what doesn't.
Yes.
That is something you really want to understand as an agent. I've had people have Ralph Lauren paint and tile flown in from Italy. And, those are great selling features. So when you're selling your property, if you can tell them, hey, we have Italian marble floors, or we have Ralph Lauren paint, or I had one client that had $100,000 automated remote control that controlled his whole house. He paid $100,000 for it. That's a great selling feature. But that's not something that's going to give you that value. So understanding what adds value to a property, which is square footage, parking, storage, decks, porches, things like that. Of course, gross living area is your biggest value increaser. But some of the other things that people do that's something for them, something that they liked at the time that they got. I've had people have $100,000 swimming pools and things like that. And so just understanding and being able to advise your seller on what is a value impacting type feature and what is not is really important to understand that as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Now I have a couple questions. My turn. I'm so excited. And then I'm monitoring the questions that people are asking inside of the group as well. But I have a couple questions
You wear both hats, both an appraiser and a realtor.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the group. So I have solar panels.
Nicole, you can look at the comments on your screen too. It is super dope. I actually really like this app.
I see it.
If you look on the right-hand side, you see comments.
Yes, I'm steady looking at my phone trying to get the comments.
I knew it.
Yes, I'm like looking around trying to make sure I'm answering everybody. Okay, so I do have a couple questions. So I have had a couple times where I felt like I had valid comps because I've heard you train on this so many times that I'm looking at I'm only going out a half a mile. I'm really comparing apples to apples, oranges to oranges, and I feel like I'll have some valid comps, and then what'll end up happening is I'll send the ones that I felt like should have been used, and I have never been able to get an appraiser to overturn an appraisal. Do you think that really comes from a place of if you turn the appraisal
of ego?
Yes. I'm like, is this an
ego? I didn't say that.
Because I'm like, what is going on? This is crazy. I'm giving you 3. And then also, I don't know if some of the people, I see some of the agents that are in here just by me knowing them. I know that they're new agents, but I don't know if you guys have, if you've done your first deal or not. But unfortunately, I can't pick the appraiser because I already know, y'all know who I would be picking all the time. The mortgage company picks the, appraisal company. So with that, is it also because maybe they feel like if they overturn an appraisal, maybe the mortgage companies won't use them anymore? I just don't understand why that's such a hard thing to do to get somebody. They won't even talk to you most times. Why is that?
Well, I can't really speak for the other appraisals. I do know it happens. I do know that when we do an appraisal report, you guys are paying for our professional opinion of the value. And so it probably is a little bit of ego, like they feel like they've done it the first time. But I have been successful on multiple occasions with doing a rebuttal to an appraiser's value or doing a field review on an appraiser's value. And the first thing that I look for is because, like I said, sometimes people have a price in their head that they think that that's what it is, and that's not what it is. So the first thing that I do is to look to see if it is wrong. If it is, did they use the best comp? So that's the first thing that I look at. Now, if I do find that it's a bad appraisal or the right comps wasn't used, then I go in and write it up. Put all the red ink on it and break it all down for my client and say, one of the things when you're doing the rebuttal, you got to remember is that you have to show them why the sales that you're sending in are better than was already used in the appraisal report. You have to show that they were closer, they were more recent, they were more similar to the square footage. You have to show that whatever was used in that original appraisal, what you're submitting is better and should have been used versus what was used in the original appraisal. And so just sending them over some comps that you thought might, be better, you have to put some support behind that. And so when I do the rebuttal form, I break it all the way down. I say, these are the comps that should have been used, and this is why. And not only do I tell them why the comps that I'm sending in should be used, I also tell them why the comps that were used were not the best ones. I break it all the way down, like I do.
You really want to hurt their egos. Got it.
well, she wants to destroy their egos.
I want our industry to be fair. So we get a lot of flack. People, appraiser killed the deal. I hate that saying. Appraiser killed the deal. So speaking for me, when I come in, I've done the work, I've done the research, and I'm able to back up whatever value that I put in that report. And so if the numbers don't work out, then it wasn't the appraiser that killed the deal. Then maybe the necessary due diligence and research wasn't done prior to getting to that point of the appraisal. That's not always the case. There are some bad appraisals out there. And again, like I said, I've done rebuttals and got their value changed. And I know a lot of people say, I've never got one changed before, but maybe it's the way you're constructing your rebuttal. And so when I do the rebuttal, I'm speaking their same language, right? And so they can't tell me just anything. So I'm speaking their same language, and I'm saying, this is not right. This is much closer. This is 2 months newer. This is much more relevant to the subject's age. And we're trying to find properties that would generally attract the same buyer. So I speak in a language that, okay, she knows what she's talking about, and they have to take a look at it. Like I break it down to a point where you can't just not respond.
Got it.
You know what I mean? And so if you're unsuccessful with getting your rebuttals considered, one, make sure that your rebuttal is valid. Make sure that you're not just wanting a particular value, that you do have a valid reason for this rebuttal. And then you want to make sure that you're explaining why the sales that you are submitting are better than what was already used in their report.
Got it. Now, Maria Anderson, my good friend. Hey, Maria. Wants to know, she said, I'd like to know how to talk to my seller about these solar panels that she thinks is adding so much value to her property. She is the type that I need to send tangible proof to back me up. So with that, what do you think as far as the solar panels are concerned? How much is there a way to tell, like, roughly how much value that would add to a property?
So with something like that, it would depend. Are solar panels predominant in that neighborhood? Are you the only person that has them? There's a lot of factors that go into that. If you're in an area where everyone has solar panels, the solar panels, the value that's contributed to that could be very different in an area where you're the only one that has one. The other thing that you want to make sure that you tell your sellers, you don't want to be the biggest and best. You want to be in line with what's going on in that neighborhood. If you're not in a hardwood, stainless steel appliance, granite countertop type neighborhood, then you don't need to do those things to your home, because you won't get dollar for dollar value increase if homes without those things are still selling in a similar price range.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Girl, I said, who wants to ask some questions? And my people went ham. I don't know about yours, Ashley. Okay. So let me. Okay, Gerard Davis, my honey. Hey, honey, would like to know, on average, how much value does an ADU add to a property?
Okay. And
let's take a commercial break before you answer that. Because guys, one of the things that I do want to say to you is, one of the things that I think, and I actually sent Sinidra some people last week, that she's going to work with to do some pre-listing appraisals. Some desktop appraisals. So just commercial break. Can you give them, because I want you guys to make sure that if you're having a listing and you're struggling with it, the worst thing that you can do is price it incorrectly. And then you get it on a market, and either you've priced it so high so nobody comes to see it, or you price it too low and the person hurry up and tries to close on it one day after the appraisal because they know that you just gave them $200,000 in value. So for these listings, make sure that you're doing, thank you, Ashley, for correcting me, a desktop appraisal or a pre-listing appraisal. So with that, can you tell people, because with those, the bank doesn't have to pick the appraiser for that. So for all of you guys that need this, can you tell them how to get in touch with you? And then we'll go back to the questions.
Yes. Okay. And I just want to just back up just a little bit and they just explain what a pre-listing is, and a desktop, and a full appraisal, and a drive-by. So we have different types of reports. There's not just one appraisal report. So it depends on what your need is. So if a client wants to make sure that they price their property correctly and get it right the first time, that's a pre-listing appraisal. That doesn't involve a bank. That's a person wanting to know the value for their own knowledge. So there's no banks involved. When that happens, you can get a desktop or you can get a full one. It just depends. So the desktop is done from the desk. It's still a certified report, but it's a short form report that whenever you need the value just for your own knowledge, you can get a short form that's still a certified report versus the full one that the bank requires. And so just to give you an example, a full one might be $5.99 and a desktop might be $2.99. They're both certified reports. They both give you the value, but one is a little more detailed than the other, and that's the one that the bank requires. But if you need to know for your own value, you want to make sure you list your house right. You just want to know what the value of your house is. You inherited a house and you want to know the value. You think your property taxes are too high. You're going through a divorce and you need an appraisal. So any types of appraisals that you need that don't involve the bank, you can pick your own appraiser, and you have options of whether you do that full one or a desktop report.
All right. So how do they find you to do those?
Oh, sorry. I forgot about that. Okay. So my name is Sanidria Potter. My company is Real Appraisals. We've been around and providing values to the community since 2001. So this is our 22nd year.
Woo!
Our website is realappraising.com. And you can reach me 404-777-REAL.
Wait. Let me 404
777 REAL.
Give me the last four because the phone won't let me.
7325.
7325.
I just put it in the chat too. My group has some questions too, by the way. Don't hold all the questions.
Wait a minute, my honey got a question, Ashley.
But
that's got a question.
Listen, that's my big homie. So if he got 2 or 3 of them, it's fine.
Okay. So this question, and then we'll flip-flop back and forth between the group. And y'all get y'all's questions in because at 8 o'clock we jumping off of here. On average, how much value does an ADU add to a property?
Okay, so an ADU, for people that may not know, assess. Can you hear me, Ashley?
I can hear you.
Okay.
She is frozen, but
so the accessory dwelling units is that's what an ADU is. So it's like if you have, a guest, a carriage house, or a guest house, or a finished studio apartment above a garage. In this day and time, a lot of people are adding some additional living space to their home, whether it's attached or detached, just to keep up in this economy. But as far as what it adds to the value of your property, is very location specific. Everything that you can think of, an ADU, a swimming pool, solar panels, everything is location specific. It just depends on what is common in that area. If you're the only person that has an ADU and the other houses in that area, in that immediate market area, are selling in similar price ranges and they don't have one, then that would directly affect what type of contributory value that ADU or that swimming pool or whatever feature will have. So what it contributes to the value of the house could be different between different areas of Atlanta or whatever city you're in. So there's no one set answer for anything. People think we have this list that's like decks are 5,000, garages are 10,000. It don't work. It don't work like that. So think about Grant Park, where nobody really has parking. So if you have a garage in Grant Park, that's a rare find, right? But if you're in an area where everybody got a garage, what that value the garage will contribute is going to be different. So it's very location specific. It's not a set list. It's not a set price. We actually have to determine what that increase is by looking at the market. We have to look at what other properties, if you got solar panels or you got a swimming pool or you got an ADU, we have to find at least one other sale that also has that same amenity. And it may not be in that same area. Right.
Got
So if it's not, then now we got to look, okay, yes, it has an ADU like our subject, but this is a totally different type of neighborhood than where our subject is. So then you got to do further adjustments to adjust for that location so that you can come up with what that contributory value of that particular feature is. Again, if nobody else has one and you get one, as far as the value, it's going to be different. The reason why someone would still get one, if you're keeping the property and now that's going to be additional revenue to you, then that has value. The fact that you're going to get a monthly payment on that'll offset your mortgage, there's value in that. But the value that comes in forms of the appraisal as far as what the property is worth will be very location specific.
Got it. Go ahead, Ashley. Get your group's questions.
Okay. Well, you actually kind of really answered it because they were asking, as a new agent, how do you study up on what add value and what doesn't add value? So you kind of just answered that there is no actual list. But if you had to give maybe some kind of advice to the new agent just to look at things, besides it being, I know you're saying that it's location specific, but how do they compare a rare find in one area?
So what I would do, on Georgia MLS where it has that, I don't know what it's called. It's a feature where you could put in a term.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Let's
so
see.
you could,
hold on, I can present.
I was just about to say we can present and share the screen so you can show us. Right.
So there's a section on there where you could put in a term. So your term might be guest house or carriage house or swimming pool. And that way you can find all the properties that have the ADU. One thing about that though, that search term is going directly from what we type in the detailed description of our listings. So if it has a carriage house or ADU and for some reason the agent didn't list that feature in there, then it won't come up in that search. So that keyword search is pulling directly from our descriptions. And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about is that you got to be really careful what you're putting in those descriptions. You got to be really careful of how you're blocking out the rooms. And when I was talking about earlier about not knowing how to separate out the basement from the above grade level, when you're entering your listings, that's all we go by. We don't go inside of the comps. So when I'm appraising, I go inside of the if I'm doing a full appraisal, I go inside of the subject property that I'm appraising, but everything that I get, all the information that I get from the comps come from what you put in your descriptions, from public records. We don't go inside of the comps. So it's very imperative for agents to make sure that your listings are accurate. How many times have any of you agents gone to a property where the listing said it was a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and you get there and it's only 3 bedrooms and it's only, so
bathroom and a half.
Right. So putting those comments in there correctly, one, so that buyers, agents that are showing their buyers properties are not getting out to the property, getting a surprise because it's not what it said in the listing, one. And two, from our appraiser side, that's what we use. We rely heavily on those descriptions. So sometimes we get a listing that don't have no descriptions in it. Sometimes we get a listing that got one photo. Or sometimes we get a listing where the first photo is upright and the next photo is upside down and the next photo is rotated this way. And it's just like, really? So it's real important. Like you might just think you're filling out some data, but that data is going across all the MLS boards and all the agents are showing their clients based on what you put in there. So that's super important. But to find, if you got a property, a complex property, and they have, like you said, ADU or a swimming pool or something that nobody else has, then if you put that keyword search in there, it'll pull up every sale in that area that has that in the description. Swimming pool.
How do I find that? Where is it? Okay. So
go to search and then go to residential and then scroll down. It's over on the right hand side. It's one of those things. Let's see. Go up a little bit more.
Other structures.
Other
maybe.
structures, maybe? Oh, yeah.
Amenities.
Oh, here. Okay.
Yeah, go hit that magnifying glass.
Mm-hmm.
So see if you got a property that's on a lake or a property with a pool or a property, you can use that, but that's not what I'm looking for though. Let's see. Okay, your screen is so small. I am 49, Ashley.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't know how to make it bigger. It's full
Let me
screen.
try and find it while you answer one other question.
Okay.
We got two good ones. Why would an appraiser exclude a short sale comp if the property sold at a higher price point than your subject property and is a very comparable property? Why do they exclude short sales? Let me see if I can.
Okay. So most times short sales are selling lower. That's the term, short. So a short sale means that the bank is taking a lesser price than what is owed. And so most times a short sale is not going to be more than a regular one. So we normally exclude short sales, REOs, foreclosures. If we're not in a foreclosure market where foreclosures and short sales dominate the market, then we wouldn't use those for a sale that's not one of those. Like if it's a regular house, it's not a REO, it's not a fixer-upper, it's not any of those things, then and it's not predominant in the market, then yes, we wouldn't use it because normally they're lower. Normally people don't want you to put REOs and foreclosures and short sales in their appraisal as comps because most times they're lower. I've not seen a short sale just for what a short sale is. It's a reduced price. I've not seen it be higher than, a non-REO property. I've never seen that. But if there's a situation where there is a short sale, it's sold higher than regular sales. This is I don't want to go real deep and confuse people, but if you don't have any sales, if you're in a market where there are limited recent comparable sales, we are allowed to use different types of sales and make adjustments to them. And so the only way you would use a short sale against something that's not a REO or a short sale is if you didn't have any other comps.
Okay.
Got it. Or if short sales and regular sales were selling in a similar price point. Which I've never seen short sales sell in a similar price point as regular properties, personally. But if that was to happen and the person didn't use it, it could have been because short sales were not predominant in that market and they had enough regular arm's length transactions to use without having to use a short sale. If if it was limited sales, then you could use it and adjust for it. But if you have valid sales, then there's no reason to use a short sale in a market where short sales do not dominate.
Got it. And I think this question kind of goes along those same lines. And then Ashley, I'll turn it back over to you. Okay. How do you appraise a luxury townhome or condo in a planned community that does not turn over very often and there is nothing close to the complex? So how would you select comps in that particular situation?
Okay, good question. Okay, so if you, whether it's luxury or not, if you have a stable subdivision where there's not sales very often, one thing that I do is I do what's called a historical sales analysis, which means that I look at the last time that something did sell in that area, what it sold for. So that gives me an idea of the highest price point that that particular area has supported. And then you go out and find, even if you have to go further, if you have a reason to go further, you can. So that's the thing with appraising. We have these rules, but if you don't have any sales, every property has a value. So if you don't have any sales, then you got to find the next closest thing and then adjust. So if you look at the appraisal, you'll see a series of plus or minus adjustments all the way down. So a house might sell for $150. That's the sales price. By the time we get done with all our plus or minus adjustments all the way down, now that sale has an adjusted sales price. So we start off with the sales prices, we do our adjustments, and at the bottom we have our adjusted sales prices. And we determine the value from the adjusted sales prices. So sometimes people look at what it sold for, but you got to look at the bottom of that grid to that final adjusted sales price number.
Now, does that apply to rural, residential, agricultural land as well?
That applies to anything. So when we're doing our appraisals, we're looking for the closest, most comparable. And so if we go 1/4 mile and we don't find anything, then we go 1/2 mile. If we don't find anything, then we go 3/4. If we don't find anything, we go 1 mile. We don't find anything, we go 2 miles. We don't find anything, we go 3 miles. I've had to cross counties before. So if you have a valid reason, like say for quads, there are very few quad sales. So when you do an appraisal on a quadruplex, you may have to go to the neighboring county, right? So you wouldn't go from Clayton County to Gwinnett. That's, you would go neighboring county. So I've done an appraisal in Clayton County before and had to use use a comp from Henry, or had to use a comp from Fulton. I can do that if I'm justified, if I have a reason to do that. If there's no sales and I start, you got to do the work. It's no quick way. You can't jump to that. You got to 1/2 mile, 3/4 mile, 1 mile, 2 mile. You have to show that you had to go out this far because there was nothing else until you got to that point. And as long as you can prove that and be justified for going out that far or crossing a county, you can do that. But it's not rare. I mean, it's not often that you have to cross a county, but multifamily, sometimes you might have something that's custom. So sometimes for custom, I've had to cross over, but you want to make sure that you're adjusting for location if where you had to go out to is not the same type of location as where your subject property is, and if it has the same type of external influences. So it needs to be the same type of area, and if it's not, then you have to adjust for that. But one of the first things I would do is with the luxury condo, no recent sales. I'm going to do a historical sales analysis and take out the date. So it shows me all the sales of the last time this particular subdivision or neighborhood had sales. What did they sell for? And then I'll take that coupled with what I find, even if I have to go out further and say, when the last time this subdivision sold, a house sold for $500,000, there's no recent sales, and the closest sale is 2 miles away, but it's similar square footage, similar amenities in the subdivision, that kind of thing. And it requires a lot of comments. So we do a lot of comments in our reports. I think a lot of people go straight to the value line, but we have a lot of commentary in those reports that kind of spell out things and explain things of what, because whatever I do, I have to justify it. I have to comment on it. I went 5, the sales exceed the normal radius, but it was due to limited recent comparable sales. As a result, I had to exceed the recommended 1 mile radius. And then I have to spell out why. And I have to talk about what I did prior to having to exceed those guidelines, whether it's the 1 mile guideline or the 12-month guidelines. So sometimes you can use a sale that's over 12 months, but you got to have a reason. You got to have justification. There's no other sales. You're in a rural area where the last house sold 18 months ago, but that house still has a value. So what you have to do is do the older sales. So say if I had to use a 2-year-old sale, then now I got to go in, look at the market conditions, see how much the market has changed from that time to now. And then I have to make a market condition adjustment. And, so there's things that you have to do to, okay, yes, I'm using a 2-year-old sale, but I still got to make it relevant to today. And you do that with the market condition and the adjustments and things like that. Hope that wasn't too deep.
No, that was perfect.
That was perfect.
So once and for all, let's kill this stigma if we can. Why is VA appraisals always so low?
So VA appraisals are the only appraisals that have their own panel. So the VA has their own appraisal panel, and you have to be a VA appraiser to do a VA appraisal. So I've been appraiser for 22 years, and I'm not a VA appraiser, so I've never done a VA appraisal. So I can't really speak on why they come in low. But VA is the only one, like I said, that has their own separate appraisal panel. And I don't know if it's still difficult now, but back in the day, it used to be kind of hard to get on the list. Someone had to, leave this world for you to get that spot. Because it's a really great panel to be on. I mean, the VA, it pays very well. And most of my friends that are VA appraisers don't do any other work. The VA keeps them busy, and they don't do any other type of appraisals. But yeah, so I can't really answer that because I've never done a VA appraisal.
Gotcha. They always say, like I've heard so many times, like the VA is running out of funds, they're limited funding and all these different things. So I guess we'll go with they have a specific panel. I like that answer.
Yeah, they have their own separate set of appraisals, and you have to be on their panel to do a VA appraisal. So that's why in 22 years I've never done a VA appraisal, because I'm not on the VA panel.
Got it.
One more. Yep. We got time for maybe two more quick questions. Are the tax suite quick CMAs and the MLS accurate?
I would say that they gather information like on a preset default mode, but you as the agent need to go in there and refine the search. Do you know what I mean? Like go in there and don't just take what they pull up. You have to, I can't count how many times I've had someone to send me a CMA challenging a value, and they have not went in and deep dive that CMA. So whatever that comes up in that CMA, they send me the whole thing. They haven't deep dived. They haven't looked to see, if they're actually comparable. They just send me, a whole bunch of sales. So I would say whatever that CMA comes up with automated in the automated model, I would go in there and refine the search, or I would go in there and make sure that they're actually comparable to my property.
All right. And the last question, but before we answer this last question, because I know people are going to start hopping off, I did, and Ashley did for both groups. We actually went in and we put all of your contact information. So just so it's easy for you, 404-777 REAL, 404-777 REAL. And you guys make sure you reach out and start doing until you, especially new agents, before you go and you list somebody's property incorrectly. People only know about the real estate process what you teach them. So when you go in and you do the listing appointment, the best thing for people to do is to go in and get that desktop appraisal or a pre-listing appraisal. They need to get those done so they can make sure that the properties are being listed accurately. And it also is going to help you from these lowball offers or people coming in and lowball you, because you're able to put in the description that
you have a
appraisal. Yep. So somebody said, how do you determine price when it comes to different square footage? For example, if one comp is 3,000 square feet and the other one is 3,500, how would you determine that adjustment?
Okay, good question. Everything, the market tells me whatever I put in that report, it didn't come from me. It came from the market. And so the answer is, you would have to look at what a 3,000 house square foot sold for and what a 3,500 square foot house sold for, and see what the difference was. What was the market's reaction to those 500 square feet in this particular situation? Some areas you'll find that the bigger houses are selling for more. Some areas you'll find that 3,000 and 3,500 are selling in similar price ranges. So if someone is willing to pay around about the same price for a house that's 3,000 versus a house that's 3,500. And I'm gonna tell you where that happens at. If you have really highly desirable neighborhoods, Buckhead, different like highly desirable neighborhoods, someone may want to be in that neighborhood, so they would pay a similar price for a house that's 3,000 square feet as a house that's 3,500 square feet. And I know I keep telling y'all everything is location and market specific, and it really is. That's where we get all of our data from. There's no preset information. Everything comes from that market, and every market, every neighborhood, every subdivision could be different. So what I would do is I will find houses that are around 3,500 square feet. I would find houses that are around 3,000 square feet and see what the market reaction was to those differences.
Now, Sierra said, do you suggest as a listing agent that we purchase the pre-listing appraisal for the client, or is that something the seller should do? I'm a firm believer in, if everything that happens from the marketing budget, the pre-listing appraisal, all of that, the pictures, everything should be an expense to the client. There are certain things that you can do as like a marketing promo. So my marketing promo for listings is that I'll pay for the pictures and we take it back at closing. But one of the things that I try, especially in this market, because buyers are so fickle, one of the things that I try to do is make them pay for their own stuff, because if the appraisal comes back and they don't like what the appraisal came back at, and you agree to pay for it, now you're out of $700, you're out of $400, however much that appraisal would be, you will be out of that money. Now it's a whole horse of a different color if you have a listing. And I think you got to do, I'm kind of like you, that it has to go on a case-by-case basis. Because if I get a listing that I know the seller is going to let me guide them, they're very coachable, the area is a highly desirable area, I know I get my hands on this listing, it's as good as gone.
Right.
If that's the situation and a person doesn't have the money, then I would pay, because I know what I'm able to do and how quickly I'm able to sell it. So it'll be a great return on my investment.
Right.
But if you got one of those fickle clients and the area is not going to do exactly what you think it may do, and they want you to sell it at $350, and you know that the house is only worth $300, even after the appraisal comes back, they're not going to be coachable and help you guide them through the transaction, I wouldn't do it. I don't know. Ashley, what do you think?
Absolutely not. I think it's a case by case basis. I think
so
it's case by case.
For me, I do pay for the pictures on my listings. I do pay for the pictures. I've never paid for the appraisal before. That's kind of different. But I will say this with my clients, I can't do their appraisal. Like I can't wear both hats at the same time. But if I'm doing a listing, I can do a CMA that involves my 22 years of valuation experience. So I'm not the appraiser in that transaction.
Oh, she's bragging tonight.
I have 22 years of valuation experience. So my listing clients don't have to worry about that part. But I do pay for their pictures. I never heard of getting it back at closing though, Nicole. You are the bomb. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I love is Nicole's marketing package,
right?
In the way that you can put it together, because you could tell at a listing appointment whether a client is going to be a headache or they won't, right? And I hate to say that if we have some sellers on here, but you have some sellers that are difficult, to say the least. So you can kind of tell how the transaction is going to flow, and her listing appointments, which I actually learned, is what she offers. She has different packages. So she may pay for the photos, the appraisal, and all that stuff, but best believe an exclusive listing agreement,
my money back.
Run that money back.
But how? Can you share? Like, do you put it in a commission or?
Yeah, so if you put it in your, go ahead, sorry.
No, go, baby. You do my paperwork, so you tell them.
Right. Because I was about to say, I know you don't know what to say anymore.
I love it.
On this good Lord's Day.
Listen, she is the reason I started Top Tier Transactions. I'm like, these agents, they're struggling, honey.
Look, I went on she went on vacation last year, and she never takes vacation for longer than 2 or 3 days. So I can really hold my own for 2 or 3 days, but she's been doing all of my paperwork for the past 2-3 years, right? So she went on vacation and had the nerve to go on vacation like 7-10 days.
You was long.
Like, wait, I don't care if it's your birthday. I don't know what's going on, but it then says she's doing a no phones vacation because she hadn't had a vacation.
I know that's right.
Came back, those contacts was so jacked up. She was so mad at me. She didn't know what to do. I'll teach you to go on vacation.
You showed me.
How long have you guys been working together? Y'all are definitely twins. I just want to tell y'all that y'all are twins. Before I knew you had a daughter, I saw you on a flyer, but it was your daughter. And I was like, Nicole looks, not that you don't look good, you look amazing, but I thought it was you. Until I knew you had it.
Let me help you to not feel bad about that. About a week ago, no, it was longer than that, about a month ago, I'm scrolling, and you know how on Facebook memories pop up? Mm-hmm. A memory had popped up, and I looked and I said, where did I get that outfit? When did I have that outfit on? And then I had I was like, oh, shoot, that's Ashley. Yeah. I was like, where did I get this outfit from? Like, oh, that's bad. So don't feel bad. We do it to each other all the time.
Well, I love that you guys work together. I think it's so amazing. I thought my son I started training him appraising at 8 years old.
Oh, I love it.
He's 22, and I've been appraising for 22 years. And I started bringing him out with me when I was 8 years old. I wanted him to be the youngest certified appraiser in Georgia. That was my plan for him. And you know how we have these plans for our kids, and they have other plans. So I just love to see that you guys are working together. It's so beautiful. I just want to tell
Well,
you.
don't feel bad. I came into real estate.
I fired her like 5 years ago. She was working for me when I first got my license, and she thought because I was her mama, she was gonna be late all the time. And like that, I was hard on her than everybody else. So I got her right on up out of the business, and then she came back 3 years later, and now has been the best thing.
Oh, that is so awesome. Well, congratulations to you guys. Now, my son is he's 22, he's very successful, but he's doing his own thing. He graduated from college and he has a very successful business, and I'm proud of him. But I really thought he was going to be the youngest certified appraiser in Georgia. He went along with me for a little while, and then once he got his own business, I said, "Hey, we got an appraisal inspection on such and such." He said, "Mom, you can't be telling me at the last minute. No, Mom, I'm not a child anymore. I got a business to run."
I know that's right.
So yeah, I thought that he was just gonna take it over and breathe that fresh energy in, and he's like, "No." I took him on.
Nicole wanted to know. We had to go back real quick. Nicole said that she missed the part about the explanation of how we get it back at the end of the transaction. So Ashley, you want to talk to them about how we get our money back for your fee, for the transaction coordinator fee, for the appraisals, for any of that. Let's go ahead and give them some free game on here tonight.
Yes. So everything in your transaction can be free, and especially if you hire top tier transactions.
Yes.
We are the best transaction coordinators around, and we are in every state. But anyways, anything that you pay for that is an expense in your transaction, if you put it in your exclusive listing or exclusive buyer brokerage agreement, you can then add it to the commission agreement, but it has to be added there first. So it just all depends upon your wording. As far as like, for let's say photos, I'll put a line item, say seller agrees to pay $250 towards listing photo shoot at closing, right? So then that way I can add it to the commission agreement, and it can be added to the settlement statement, right? And it also, go ahead. You can ask.
No, I was going to ask, is it that line up under the commission that says, are there any additional fees? Is it that?
Nope. So I put everything in the special stip section, the box that's on the second to last page. I put everything there because I want to type out each individual payment that is owed. And especially if you are paying, like say you walk into a listing and you first figure out, or you're only going to charge a transaction fee, right? And then also charge for photos. But then you realize that the house is sitting longer, right? And you need to go back and add that you're going to add the appraisal fee, right? Then you have more room to add those different things, and the seller can just initial off on it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know what?
Right. They can find both of y'all. Since both of y'all have such amazing businesses, tell them how they can find both of you guys. Commercial break.
Yes. Oh, and then one more thing. So when you are adding your statements or adding your refunds, right, to your exclusive list agreements, make sure that you are putting how you're supposed to be paid, right? Because if you just put to be reimbursed or to be paid to, or admin fee is to be paid to at closing, or whatever case may be, and not saying who it's supposed to be paid to, the money will go to your brokerage, and that now becomes a part of your commission, right? So then they're taking their fee off of your entire commission amount.
Back up. So when you separate it out from your commission, then there's no percentage that comes out of that part from your broker.
Correct. So what you do is you'll say seller agrees to reimburse Nicole Ambrose for listing for photos to be paid at closing directly to Nicole Ambrose, however you word it, right? But you want to make sure you're saying who it pays to.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then that check gets cut directly to you at closing. Your transaction coordinator check gets cut directly to the transaction coordinator at closing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're not double taxed on the money, because if it goes back to the broker again, now they're going to take their money out of it again. You're going to get taxed on it again. It doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
Yep. And somebody said really quick, because I obviously we work with a lot of EXP agents. EXP is making us remove the transaction fee. Well, not us anymore, but they are making their agents remove the transaction fees from the exclusive listing agreement or buyer brokerage agreement. And there is a separate form that you can use. So if you want to know more information on how to do this, follow Top Tier Transactions on Facebook. And you can also follow our group at Top Tier Transactions Team. And I will give you all of my special stipulations that I include. And I'll also tell you how to fill out that form to make it so easy for you.
Somebody said, doesn't that have to be approved by the broker? Now, that doesn't have to be approved by the broker because that's not a commission. Anytime you alter your commissions, that has to be approved by the broker. But if you're paying for, let's say, even for example, if you pay for the photos, if they don't have money for marketing and you do this elaborate, especially if they want you to do something for marketing that's outside of what you normally do, they want you to throw this elaborate party when you normally just do an open house, and you decide that, okay, let's half up what that price would be. You want to throw a $2,500 broker open, no problem. We both will spend $1,250. That $1,250 that you spend has nothing to do with your commission. That's something that you're doing for marketing outside of your commission. So those monies being paid back to you doesn't have to be approved by your broker at all.
And also, guys, just real quick, because I see agents, we work with so many agents through Top Tier, right? Put your termination fees in your exclusive listing agreement, in your exclusive buyer brokerage agreement, please. It will save you. We as agents, again, I said in the very beginning, I know what it takes to be an agent. I'm a licensed agent, right? So I know everything that we put into these houses, our listings, whether we're working with a buyer or a seller, we do a lot, right? And we don't get paid until we go to the closing table. And it's a very rewarding job, but it can be very exhausting. And as soon as you get a new client, send them out an exclusive buyer brokerage agreement, exclusive listing agreement, and add your fee for termination in that fee. And it doesn't have to be that if it, because they say we earn our commission once we are the procuring calls for a transaction going through, right? No, it could be if I've rendered services to you, I am due this amount of money. Right? It could be $6.95, $12.95, whatever you want it to be, whatever number.
Did you get my termination money today?
I did.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in your initial listing agreement, you put language in it that says if this terminates without closing, then this particular fee is due to me for my services rendered.
Yeah, yes, because especially, with either one, when you've taken buyers out to see many properties, right? We're not in a market where we have to really submit offer after offer after offer, but you have some buyers that are just super picky. Right. That's a lot. Or you have a seller who's just unbearable, and they're not making your job easy, and they're not listening, they're not coachable, whatever the case may be, and you're overextending yourself to do open houses and paying for marketing and all that stuff. You can add language in your exclusive listing agreement, and I can give you the exact verbiage that we use in our contracts, or that we recommend that agents use in their contracts too, just to make sure that if they decide that they want to use little Ray to sell their house after you just put in all this work, or cousin Shannon, then you still kind of get some compensation.
Especially if you have a showing agent, like for me, right? I have my transaction coordinator, which is a fee that I pay, and she don't give me a discount, y'all. I pay the same thing that y'all pay. I choose to, because I don't want my service to be no different than nobody else's. I'm paying you the same thing they paying you. So my transaction coordinator fee, and then I have a showing agent. So, and my showing agent gets paid per stop. So with that, every time they go out, I'm paying them. So if they go show you 10 properties and you decide that you just don't want to buy a house because you don't like the 10 houses that are in your price point, and it's nothing that we did to affect the transaction, that means if I'm paying my showing agent, I got to pay them $300, I got to pay, the $595 on the transaction side, I'm almost out $1,000 plus the time that I spent with you. So I'm, on every transaction, if you want to terminate with me, you can, but you got to pay me this $12.95 transaction fee. And I'm not removing, especially if it's a listing, I'm not removing the listing from the MLS until I get my $12.95.
Do you have problems with people paying it?
I haven't so far, because one of the things, people don't have a problem paying. Now, if it was something that, and I'm fair, I'm a very, very fair agent. I try to be a fair person all the way around. If it's something that we did and we screwed up, and that's why you don't want to work with us anymore, I'm not going to charge you a termination fee, because we should have done better. But if it's just you being you for whatever purpose it was, and you just decide that you don't want to move forward in the transaction for whatever reason, that has nothing to do with me. So I need to be compensated for my time. Now, I will say this. I think a lot of times people have a challenge getting paid for stuff like this, getting the money that they need for pictures back, marketing money back, termination fees, because you're not crystal clear in your exclusive buyer brokerage, in your listing consultation, and in your buyer consultation. I make sure that I'm very clear in explaining that stuff. I recap it I recap all the fees in an email after our consultation, whether it's listing or buyer. I'll recap all of those fees. And then I'm making sure that that information is spelled out very clear in the agreement. And then I'm having that conversation again. Let's talk about this again. So it's not coming to you as a surprise that you got to pay this money. So I personally haven't, because I over communicate with money, because I'm not going to play with your money, and I don't want you playing with it.
Yeah, right. Somebody said, does the brokerage get a part of the termination fee? No, they do not. Will this work in Texas, Florida? Yes. And we are in Texas and Florida. We actually have agents that are licensed in Texas and Florida that service TCs on the top tier transaction team. So if you need anything, when I tell you we're in every state, and if we're not in your state yet, we just need a little bit of training and we will be in your state too. So
I have a question, Ashley. Can you tell me what type of services that top tier transactions provide?
Yes, I can. So top tier transactions, we are transaction coordinators. We also have a VA section, show and agent section, and then graphic design section as well. But for the transaction coordinating piece, I wanted to set aside us from other transaction coordinators. So instead, the typical transaction coordinator will start as soon as you go binding. We actually start as soon as as soon as you have a exclusive listing agreement signed or exclusive buyer brokerage agreement signed. So on the listing side, we can assist with getting the house and make ready, period. We have a lot of contractors. We have a lot of partnerships, whether that's we need to schedule photo shoots, we need lawn maintenance, whatever it is that you need, carpet cleaners, whatever you need to get the house and make ready, period, we will do. We also enter the listings in MLS for you. That's at no additional charge. Now, once the house starts receiving offers, we will store obviously those offers into whatever contractual system you're using. And then we will also pull the pertinent information out of those offers and put it in a spreadsheet for you to review with your client. And then once the deal goes binding, we will work the transaction from start to finish. The only thing we don't do is negotiate on your behalf. And I'm sure you don't want us to. But we will do everything. Anything that you can think of in a transaction, we handle. So inspections, appraisals, communication with the lender, title work, HOA fee, or whatever it is that we need to do as far as communicating goes, and just making sure it's a smooth transaction, we will do. On the buyer side, we actually jump in. As soon as you have the exclusive buyer brokerage agreement, we will write up to 3 offers for each buyer. And then once one of those go binding, we'll work it from start to finish the same way that we do on the listing side. So anything that you can think of in a transaction, the only thing that we don't do is negotiate on your behalf. And last but not least, we do business how you do business. We don't want to change anything about your business. So we're working out of your systems. You don't have to create different profiles and different systems to work with us. We're going to work inside of your system, so you don't have to change anything. Our goal is for you to rest assured to know we got it, right? Once you got this client under contract, you have a helping hand, and you know, hey, I can move on to the next buyer. I can move on to the next seller because they got you, right? So yeah, hope that was.
And then is there one flat fee for that, or does it depend on the price of the house, or?
No, you know what? Someone else asked me that, and I was like, depend upon the price of the house. Why would we do that? Yes. So I think that's probably something that's typical, but no, we have one flat fee. Our flat fee is $4.95 per transaction if we're on the buyer or the seller side, $6.95 if we're on dual agency side, and then yes, pregnancy brain is a thing. Jesus Christ! Oh, if you just need
blaming my grandbaby for what you got going on over there.
I just lost my train of thought. If you just need like compliance on the transaction, then we just charge $100. But remember, our fees are free to agents, right? Because I'm putting it in an exclusive listing agreement, exclusive buyer brokerage agreement that the client pays for. You don't pay us, so you get our services for free.
And
So
then I remember one year that I, because I learned that from another agent about 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And that brought that year, I think I did 78 transactions that year. So do 78 transactions times $4.95. That brought that amount of money back into my pocket and still having the same service. So it worked. Listen, guys, I'm so sorry that I have to do this. I have an event that I have to go to. So you guys don't have to hop off. I'm going to just turn my camera off. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining. I pray that each one of you use my girl, my sister, for your pre-listing,
Whoop, whoop.
in your desktop appraisals, your pre-listing appraisals, your desktop appraisals. But more importantly, make sure that you know what you're doing. And the only way that you can make sure that you know what you're doing is if you use people that know what they're doing. So for me, I learned everything in my business from Tiffany Halls. Shout out to Tiffany Halls. If y'all do business with Tiffany Halls, make sure y'all tell her that I always shout her out. I learned everything from my appraiser. I learned everything from my the lender that I had when I first was doing real estate. His name was Jared Maddox. And so you partner with people in your business that know what they're doing. If she ain't show y'all nothing else here tonight, she shows you that she knows exactly what she's doing. Partner with her. Make sure you copy her information down. We're going to put it out here again. And then for Ashley, I'm not saying this because she's my daughter, my twin, and carrying my best friend in her belly. Little himself. She really is good. She's processed over 300 of my 500 transactions for me in my business over this last 3 years. And she knows exactly that's only what she did in my business. So she has other clients. So she's well into 500 transactions of her own that she's processed and taken part in. And the thing that you can rely on is that she's a licensed agent. So she knows licensed law. And her transaction coordinators are licensed as well. I only partner with people that are the best of the best. So I thank you guys. I salute you for being part of the best of the best. And I am so honored to be in partnership with you guys. So y'all have an amazing night. I got to go and get this crooked eyelash fixed and go throw my my gown on for the evening. So I appreciate you guys. And I'm just going to turn my camera off. You guys can wrap it up however you need to.
Awesome. I'm just going to flash your information one more time on the screen because this system is pretty cool. I can show it.
Ashley, do you save your lives each week? Like are they on your page or in the group?
Yes, and I actually will chop them up. I'll add them to my Facebook. So I'll get you a copy. I'm hoping that it recorded on the system. You know, this is our first time using this platform.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that it recorded. Fingers crossed. If so, I will get you a copy of it.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No, thank you so much for coming. It's been a pleasure, a pleasure, a pleasure. If you guys look at the screen instead of the chat, you can see her contact information. I did pin it. Yes, I service North Carolina and South Carolina. I am very familiar with Dotloop. I use Dotloop in my own personal business. What system are you using to go live? We're using StreamYard. All right, Miss Lady. I think we're on. So if you need any of my stipulations, please just let me know. I'll send them to you. I can email them to you at your what email do I have? I have your Gmail account. I'll email them to you.
Does this play on Instagram too or just Facebook?
Just Facebook. I haven't, you know what, but I did.
StreamYard lets you do all three.
Oh, where we something new. Okay.
Unless you do them all at the same time. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
So next time we get you on,
no, I don't know how to do it. Like, no. I just know it can do it because I've seen someone do it with their podcast. That's why I was already signed up with StreamYard. I don't know how to do it, but I do know that you can broadcast like on Instagram and Facebook and all at the same time.
I'm going to figure it out. I'll send you screenshots when I send you my stipulations too. So you can add them to your agreements. All righty. Can you send them to me as well? Yes, Keisha. I need your new email. Can you post Top Tier's contact information again? Yes, I can. Oh, it's on the screen. Shannon, DM me your email. I don't think I have it anymore. All righty. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up. I think I've answered all questions. Here's my contact information again. maybe I don't know how, but I can't copy email addresses. So if you guys, my email address, I put it in there. My phone number, I've also put in there. Or you can go to Top Tier Transactions page and leave a comment, and I can copy your email address there, or I may be able to copy it once we get off of here. But I'll send you what you need. Are you available in Alabama? I am. Oh, and one more question for you. So, do you partner with other, or do you have a referral system if you have agents that's looking for desktop appraisals or pre-listing appraisals in other states?
Do I know appraisers in other states? Right now, I'm only licensed in Georgia. I know appraisers in a few states, but not many. Most of the appraisers I know are here in Georgia. I do know maybe one or two in North Carolina, Alabama, but mostly just Georgia. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, if you need me, call me, email me, text me, DM me, and I would love to help you in your business. I wish you all the best of success, and I hope you got something from today's live. If you have additional questions, feel free to DM us or call us so we can be of assistance. And I hope you guys have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye. All right. See you later.